And I was reading your thing of the story of Insomnia, and obviously Avicii did a remix of Insomnia.
That's right.
Massive on streaming.
Yeah,
so you've been able
because
to reach
we weren't
people,
released in the streaming era. The last album we did, called All Blessed in 2020, was the first album we actually ever put out into the streaming era at the time. All our albums are up there. You can listen to them, but they weren't released. Which get all that attention when an album gets released. And it is extraordinary how you'll get a track that's like, Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill goes viral after 37 years. It's just extraordinary, just discovered by a new generation, by a clever sync, on film or an advert or on an amazing series like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So music's brought to people in all these different ways now that perhaps it wasn't when an album got released and you queued up at the record shop and you paid your cash to buy the album. It's so different now how people come across music and discover it.
Yeah.
And that is a great, liberalisation, I guess.
I know you disagreed with me when I said this to you before the show, but one of the things I think that's been remarkable about you is you are a great mum to Nate, and you are very with it compared to a lot of DJs, because through you and Nick and other people, I've seen a lot of DJs who kind of lost their marbles, to be honest. So you're kind of part of this scene where loads of other people in your circuit are probably struggling with alcoholism, addiction, whatever it is, lack of sleep. How have you managed to stay sane in your profession?
I don't know how sane I am, actually. I put on a good front. I don't drink, I don't take anything. I've had my own health battles, which is not public knowledge, but sort of impresses on me that health is wealth. I see people really struggling. I absolutely know that crazy schedule where you're on a plane, you've had 1 hour sleep, you're in 12 different time zones at once, it's just bonkers. It cannot be good for you. And I think, and again, I'm in the luxurious position to say this, is to say no. It's really hard as a self-employed person when there is no safety net. You're not on a pension scheme, you're not on a sickness scheme. If you don't work, you don't earn. And I think that's a great driver of people to overwork themselves and not listen to their own bodies. It's really, really tough. What can I say? This is not an industry that is properly regulated. And I think what is really good now, again, with the internet, there is a forum for conversation. There are much more conversations about mental health, about physical health, about diversity, about inclusion, about online hate, about bullying. And all of these things which we weren't really subject to back in the 90s, DJs and performers and artists now are.
Yeah.
Some people just can't read their comments because they get so much abuse. I just feel, hopefully this interview won't get a load of negative comments, but people really do. The keyboard warriors, they pile on, and that can absolutely tip your mental health to another place. You have to develop either thick skin or some sort of resilience, or not let the noise affect you to put yourself out there. So I guess I'm very lucky in many ways, but particularly that my career kind of got a foothold before the kind of negativity could come from all angles. People wrote horrible reviews and really negative, or wrote something really crappy about our live show. You could kind of laugh it off and go, well, we're selling out the O2 Arena or Wembley, so it's just words. Just wash off. We have the courage in our convictions, what we're doing. People seem to like it. We speak to our fans. We know it's connecting with them. The rest is noise. But I think maybe younger artists don't have that experience. They don't have skin in the game to be able to just brush that away. And that can be corrosive to a person. People don't like what you do. Oh my God. Can destroy you. And that's, I would say, very very tough for the younger generation. And also you need good people around you. And it does seem to me the DJs that are very successful now, they have a huge team of marketing people and management and PR. They're not these sole operators like we used to be, just literally me and a record bag. I didn't have a tour manager, didn't have anyone going with me. 90% of the time I could get my friends together and they'd come if it was in the UK. But for international travel, I never got a +1. They didn't pay for another ticket. It was all new. We were at the frontier of DJing becoming this sort of international commodity. Yeah. So what can I say? I suppose I am lucky to have that longevity, but I do look after myself and I try and reach out when I need help. There's only a couple of times I've ever cancelled a gig, but I have felt really on the edge and I had to do it. I've had some things going on in my life. I thought, if I get on a plane now, I'm going to lose my mind. I just can't do it. I'm so loath to do that because people pay good money to come to a gig.
But sometimes you have to look after yourself. And
I've only done it twice, but I had to do it. I had to listen to my body and my mind and go. So saying no is a really powerful thing, and many people don't feel that they can say no. Because if you say no, you look like you're not willing, and then will they ask me again? If I lose that gig, then I lose the gig after. Because even like it was back in the day, each gig does lead to another gig if you play well, even at the same place. Snowball or someone effect, hears a promoter in a neighbouring town and like, well, look, if you come back and play Copenhagen, then I can book you in Malmo, and then we can make a tour out of it. You know, there are many connections to be made, and I think people being afraid to say no is because they'll miss those opportunities, and will they ever come back again? I think you have to have some degree of confidence or optimism, which is, I'd say, tough for me. I was very much a glass half empty person for a long time. It would really frustrate Max. He would drive him nuts. He's like, come on, Bliss.
So how was that?
I was like, it's all going to fall over. Nobody likes us. It's all rubbish. I'm very self-critical.
Was that playing out? So say you got a negative review even before social media, like in the press or anything, would that negatively affect you? Or
do you know what? It wasn't even the reviews, it was just in my own head. The inner critic. So that is one of the powerful things you have to gain mastery of. And of course the affirmation comes from if people buy your record or they cheer at a gig. You know, when you're in the bubble in a studio as a recording artist, that's the beautiful part, where you're just creating and you're grafting to make it sound amazing. So you've got the initial idea that came out of nowhere, and suddenly there's music hanging in the air that wasn't there before. And there is a magic to that, and it's pure. Nobody's come in and said, "Oh, that's shit," or whatever. So there's something really rather lovely and unsullied about that. But then it's like having a kid, and they're off on their first day at school, and are they going to have their head flushed down the toilet by the school bullies? We don't know. And that's where the leap of faith comes in. You have to think, I want to make this music as good as it can be, A, to shut my inner critic up, and B, we've done as good as we can. If you put something out into the world that's a bit half-assed, then the world will respond in kind. So I do hope that within our limited resources, we tried to do the best that we could. We didn't serve up half-baked music or lyrics.
Well, that's where
we've tried to have a standard, you know.
You've done what you know is good music in your heart, and then the rest is the faith. It doesn't matter what religion you are, as you said, Catholic, Buddhist, Jewish, or agnostic, believe in the universe. You know, if you put that out there, God or whoever it is going to look after the rest, right? Is that leap of faith?
One can only hope. So Maxie carried the faith for all of us, which was amazing. And again, you put the graft behind it, which is, okay, we've got to visit 20 cities and convert people. So there was that feeling. And it was an attitude we took out onto the stage, especially when we were at festivals and we'd play like with Limp Bizkit and Metallica and Lenny Kravitz and R.E.M., like massive rock acts, thinking they're just going to hate us. But we'd sort of go out as if we were going to do battle. And I think the battle mentality is also something really will serve an artist. It's like, you've got to imagine it's me against the world. Oh, wow. Don't go out there thinking they're all going to love you. Go out there thinking they're going to hate you, and you must convince them. You must impress. And that's a kind of philosophical kind of well,
that's maybe the
place to live from, I think.
Well, it's a good
in music.
It's the positive aspect of maybe being self-critical, that I need to be really prepared, and I need to absolutely smash this gig, right? So that maybe the haters, they're going to convert.
Yeah, exactly. Don't imagine you're going out to a warm welcome and then just relax into that. No, you have to have a sort of absolute commitment to every note that you play. And know that people haven't always come to see you. They've come to see the other headliner or whoever it is. I mean, we're lucky now. We're at the, still topping the bill. But there was a period where we were third down the list or fourth down the list. And it was this conversion process where then the year after, or on the next album cycle, we'd be notched up a little bit because people had seen us and were convinced that we could cut it alongside the biggest rock or punk acts or R&B acts of the time. So that was a real kind of, it's a powerful affirmation that we were doing something right.